At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality bikes, which might lead to another discovery. Getting back on the saddle isn't always comfortable. Good news is Sierra has massage guns. And chafe wipes, too. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Ready for your next adventure? KLM Royal Dutch Airlines brings you Real Deal Days. Your chance to uncover real adventures and create real memories. Taste the real Amsterdam, explore the real Barcelona, and discover the real Johannesburg, along with many more destinations around the world. Secure your real deal today and seize the moment with KLM Royal Dutch Airlines. Restrictions apply. See terms and conditions at KLM.com.
Your data is like gold to hackers, and they'll sell it to the highest bidder. Are you protected? McAfee helps shield you, blocking suspicious texts, malicious emails, and fraudulent websites. McAfee Secure VPN lets you browse safely, and its AI-powered text scam detector spots threats instantly. You'll also get up to $2 million of award-winning antivirus and identity theft protection, all for just $39.99 for your first year. Visit McAfee.com. Cancel anytime. Terms apply.
Hello and welcome to the 1865 match report. We're recording this the morning after Nottingham Forest recorded a magnificent 1-0 victory over reigning champions Manchester City. I'm joined by Tom Newton and we'll also be hearing from Crunk Chocolate from the Shades of Blue podcast. So Tom, how are you feeling this morning?
Buzzing, absolutely buzzing. Perfect day yesterday from start to finish, and we love days like this, weekends like this, don't we?
It's a fun, as I said in our group chat straight after the match, I thought we were magnificent. I keep using the word magnificent again and again and again, but I was just like planning some stuff out for this, and there's hardly any highlights to talk about, which I think says a lot about the way we played.
Yeah, basically nullified the threat of Man City. We looked at the teams before the game, and they very much set up like Brighton, but obviously Man City, pound for pound, they are no disrespect to Brighton, but when you look at the players and what Man City have done over the previous years, is that it's still a very, very good side, coached by a very, very good manager. And obviously that Haaland had like the four attacking midfielders, then Nico Gonzalez in the middle, and you just knew that they were going to have a lot of the ball in the final third. But Forest to a man yesterday, team selection was bang on, the game plan was bang on, the tactics were bang on, every player was 10 out of 10. Nobody had a average game. Everybody was like right at it. And we come away with a 1-0 win, and I think we deserved it. Definitely.
So, as you said, let's start with the team news. So we had a lot of familiar names, but it was actually quite an unfamiliar setup. So Sells in goal, Murillo and Milenkovic in front of him, Aina and Williams as the two fullbacks, and then a midfield of Gibbs, White, Anderson and Dominguez with Callum Hudson-Odoi, Elanga and Wood as the attacking threats. But it wasn't our standard sort of 4-2-3-1. During the game, I described it as a 4-3-3 because Morgs was basically playing really, really deep. I've seen it also described as a 4-4-2 with Elanga up front and Hudson-Odoi on the wings, but I'm not really sure about that. What you can say is that Elanga basically had a free role. He was playing centrally, he was playing on the left, he was playing on the right. But I think, the key thing was, and we'll come back to this later on, was the way the midfield, the three sort of central midfielders were set up to stop Manchester City.
Yeah, and we all know like how good Anderson and Gibbs White are together, but Nico Dominguez, I mean, about a month, 2 months ago, he was in really good form, wasn't he? Then he got dropped from the side, and then he come in and played a couple of games, and he wasn't really his old self. But yesterday, I watched him in particular with just his off the ball. I mean, he didn't see much of the ball, but he just basically nullified any threat from them. And he was brilliant yesterday. And we all know that, we'll talk about it in a bit, but Hudson-Odoi will get all the accolades for obviously the first chance he had, where he obviously Edison's tipped onto the post, and the goal what he did actually score. And he rightly so will get the man of the match. But I'll put a tweet out yesterday basically saying Nico Domínguez was absolutely superb yesterday. He just ran himself into the ground and basically stopped the threat of Manchester City. And there's me and a few of my mates and obviously a few others out there who love Nico Domínguez, but he was absolutely brilliant yesterday.
I was a little bit surprised before the game to see that he'd made the cut, but yeah, I agree. I thought he was man of the match by a long way. We were just saying beforehand at the Etihad, Guardiola did that inverted fullback thing and kept on popping up basically as a number 10, and it was causing us real problems. Whereas this game, Dominguez just kept him quiet, and he had to stay at left back because of it. I thought he was outstanding.
Yeah, and another thing is he got himself a goal. He was like a really good volley on the back post, and if that would have gone in, obviously the roof would have come off. But yeah, he was brilliant yesterday, and he's very selfless in what he does. He doesn't do anything extravagant or that. He just plays it simple and just concentrate on what he's good at, and we saw that yesterday from Nico Domínguez.
So so it was a pretty warm day where I sit. I was in the sun, so I was I was regretting taking a big coat. We started off with another tifo from Forza Garibaldi, which nice to see. I always like them. And then on 3 minutes, we had minute's applause for Stuart Pearce, who'd obviously been taken ill the night before.
Yeah, it was very poignant, that was. And obviously, he used to be a manager of Man City and a player for Man City. And the Man City fans below me, and near enough all of them applauded him. And there was like mutual respect there. And then just before, obviously, Forza's tifo in Trentham, which I had the pleasure of helping out on Friday night. And so I got my steps in on Friday evening, going up and down the stairs of Upper Trentham. But it's a really well-oiled operation by Forza. The guys who plan it have been, obviously they've done quite a few. So obviously the more you do something, you get better at. But yeah, it's so slick operation and really good people helping out. And I think we all know that Forza have been an absolute credit to the fan base. And they just had that like another ingredient on top of like a brilliant match day experience at the City Ground. So like I said, perfect day yesterday. I sometimes like the early kickoffs because I go to Trent Nav and they put on like a really decent breakfast and everything. And Simon Fotheringham does the compare with the quiz and everything. And sun was out, and it was a really brilliant day yesterday. So I know we keep saying this on the pod, and I know I've been in Premier League. This is our third season now, but City Ground was made for days like this, wasn't it? So, it was perfect yesterday.
Absolutely lovely. I was trying to scan through for some highlights to mention in the first half, and all I could really come up with was there was a shot from Haaland inside the box that went wide. I think it was Chris Wood sort of gave the ball away.
Yeah.
And Murillo managed to block it, but we still got a goal kick off it.
Yeah, he just missed his kick, didn't he, Chris Wood? He did put his hand up after the ball went wide, but if you look on the highlights with camera behind the goal, it did actually take a little nick off Murillo, and obviously that's took it further away from goal. I don't know if it would have gone in, but
beyond that, I mean, in terms of shots and stuff, there was 2 or 3 long range shots, mainly from Gonzalez.
Yeah.
And I can remember thinking during the first half, if we've reduced them to shots from distance, speculative shots from distance.
Yeah.
But in terms of us, I can't really remember anything that happened. There was one where Chris Wood failed to control it, and it sort of spilled to the ground.
Yeah, there's a couple of opportunities in the first quarter where we did put them under a bit of pressure, and I think it was Nuno.
Corners and stuff.
Yeah, Nuno's tried to pass it back to Kruzanov, Uzbek defender, and he wasn't in position. It went out for a corner, and then had a couple of corners, and corners didn't really land, did they? I think Gibbs White did have a slasher to shot, which went miles wide and everything, but we nullified them. And until the Elliot Anderson 50-50 with Foden, where he obviously went down, as a good of a player Phil Foden is, I didn't even recognise him on the pitch.
No.
To be honest, I just thought we nullified his threat. And then obviously Haaland he had that chance which we were just spoken about. We nullified him as well. So yeah, the good thing about Forest yesterday, they got bodies in the middle of the goal, and they're just basically says you're not getting past us. And then obviously you had Nico Williams and Aina had, I won't say he had his most comfortable game because Doku's an absolute speed merchant, isn't he? But he did look after him quite well. And both fullbacks were outstanding yesterday. And yeah, it was one of those games where managers have said it's like, to get anything today, we need to be perfect. And we was perfect yesterday defensively. And yeah, to a man, Forest were, like I said, brilliant.
And then come out for the second half, and Forest showed, I mean, there was, I wouldn't call it grumbling, but there was a bit of comment where I was sitting like, yeah, we've not really done anything going forwards. And the second half, that changed with, as you mentioned earlier, the Dominguez shot, which, I mean, it was fantastic technique. I mean, it was probably a comfortable save for Ederson, but the technique he showed to get the shot on was brilliant.
Yeah, and there's been like things like that in the last few months where you just player like on back post, it's either gone over his head or obviously he's got in front of him and he hasn't got there in time. But yeah, it's a fantastic technique, and I know the angle's really tight, and I keep Ederson's status is that he should be saving that, but it was still a good connection by Dominguez, and I thought for a minute he was signalling to the bench, wasn't he? I thought he'd like pulled something kind of thing.
Yeah, I thought his standing foot, so he hit it with his right, and I thought he twisted his ankle a little bit on his standing foot when he hit it.
Yeah, but obviously he was still able to carry on, and he did come off after 65 minutes. So, but yeah, it was fantastic, and it was a great pick out. I can't remember who picked. Was it Hudson-Odoi who picked him out, or
I think it was Elanga.
Was it Elanga? Yeah, it's still a great pick out, isn't it? And decent connection on it.
And again, in terms of like goalmouth highlights, the next thing that really happened was Hudson-Odoi breaking down the left. As I said, like Elanga was all over the place, and Hudson-Odoi decided to take the left-hand side for that bit. Pushes it across, it gets to Wood, who wasn't really in a position to turn, so he lays it off to Anderson, who gives it back to Hudson-Odoi, who does one of his standard procedure, runs inside.
Yeah, and
I really thought that was in. And
yeah, I was at the Bridgeford end when my season ticket seat is, and I thought he's hit the post. Then Forrest tweeted saying, "What a save by Ederson," and I thought, wow, that's got to be some save. But then you watch it on the highlight, it's even better because Ederson doesn't see it until late. It comes through. He's got, I think it's cruising off.
Players in front of him,
yeah, cruising off, and is it Diaz? And he can't see, and he's basically predicting where the ball may go, and he's obviously gone to his left and tipped onto the post, and it's an outstanding save. And I do rate Ederson as a goalkeeper. I know he's had his made his mistakes, but for the Brazilian national side, he's got Alisson in front of him, and he had a brilliant night on was it Tuesday or Wednesday in Paris against Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League. So it's been a decent week for goalkeepers if you're from Brazil with them too. But then obviously we'll talk about it in a minute with the winner. But yeah, it's a class save by Ederson.
At this point, Pep decided he'd seen enough. I mean, he's always quite animated on the touchline, but you could see he was angry at his players and trying to get them to play faster. So he made a double substitution with Marmoush coming on. We'll talk about him in a bit. And who else? It was actually, no, I'm wrong. It wasn't them. It was Nunez and Gonzalez who came on. Lewis and Kovacic coming on. Now both Nunez and Gonzalez had been booked. Gonzalez for bringing down Gibbs White on a break, and there was another incident with Gonzalez just before he came off where he was lucky to escape a yellow card. So I think both of them were taken off because of the yellow cards.
Yeah, and I noticed with Pep yesterday, because when I think some of us are still in that awe of that Pep Guardiola's in the opposing dugout in a league game, but I think he's got this sixth sense, Pep. He smells danger before anybody else, and we'll talk about it in a second. But he knows what's going to happen before the players do, if that makes sense. And yeah, he was like going around his technical area, and I think he generally worried yesterday about the pace, what we brought to the game, and obviously the technical ability of Gibbs White. He was like picking out Alanga and Hudson-Odoi all day long, and some of it didn't come off, which I don't mind about it. When you've got a player as good as Gibbs White, sometimes it's going to come off, and sometimes it's not. And I just love watching Gibbs White because I think he's got that drive, that energy, that desire on top of his talent, and I still say he's probably like one of the best probably the best player I've seen in the last 20 years in a red shirt. But yeah, with Pep, he knows what's happening, and obviously he made those changes, didn't he, with Kovacic.
And then he followed them up a little bit later with Marmoush and De Bruyne coming on. De Bruyne replacing Phil Foden, who, as you said, has been pretty much anonymous and marked out of the game. And De Bruyne sort of made an immediate impact with that free kick from sort of maybe 25 yards out.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying it wasn't a free kick, it wasn't a booking, but obviously in that area of the pitch, when you got like Kevin De Bruyne in your side, he's still. I know he's probably on the way down. He's not the same player he was what 5 years ago, but he's still got that ability. You lose that ability, do you? And I thought this is prime position, and obviously, good thing about it, Matt Sells would know him from the Belgian national squad. And it's a really good free kick, isn't it? I think it just bounces just in front of Matt Sells, and I've been trying to drum up this support for Sells after that save. It is a world-class save because he does hit it with pace, it bounces, and he keeps that in his midriff. He doesn't spill it, he doesn't like push it back into the danger area or pushes it around the post. He holds the ball, and it's a class save. And people will say, oh, it's his job. Yeah, I know it's his job, but how many mistakes we've seen from goalkeepers in the last few months, kind of thing. And and I think that's the only notable save that he's had to work for yesterday. There was a couple of routine saves from Doku, wasn't it, in the first half? And that just goes to show how defensively sound we was yesterday. Milankovic, Murillo, two full-backs in midfield. Sells doesn't have a lot to do, and it's another clean sheet. I think, is he on 12 or 13 clean sheets now? And I think he's
12, I think. But
yeah, I think he's on like 2 or 3 more clean sheets than the next goalkeeper. I think it's David Raya. So he's on course of getting a Golden Glove, and for a team what's only 2 years ago got promoted, that is phenomenal.
and basically a player that we all thought was like a bit of a rush signing, panic signing.
Yeah, and especially with the goalkeepers we've had over the last. We had Papadon Rips with Vlachodimos, and you had basically the point deduction in goal with Matt Turner, who he used to give goals away for fun, didn't he? So it's nice to have a goalkeeper who the back four's got full confidence in, and his distribution is tip top as well, isn't it? He found Chris Wood no end of times, and I know Chris Wood didn't get many shots away yesterday, but his presence of just like bringing the ball down and obviously playing out of it, like relieved a lot of pressure, and it gave the back four. Get that for a bit of relief, didn't it? So actually, Chris Wood was yesterday.
I need to come back to that. We'll talk about that later. There was something in the first half I forgot to mention, but anyway, I have to say Pep's substitutions did make the game a bit more stretched. Dominguez also, as you mentioned, came off, replaced by Yates, probably because he'd hurt himself a little bit and he'd done a lot of running. And the game was definitely a bit more stretched. Kovacic in particular is less defensively minded, so he was making some runs from deep. But there was a point where we sort of broke up to their end. They won it back off them. They broke down to our end, and Ola Aina put in an absolutely beautiful, like, last-ditch tackle to win the ball off. I think it was off Holland, wasn't it?
Yeah. Was that the one where Sangari slipped and the ball obviously come? It was at the start of the goal.
The start of the goal,
yeah. Because we was in their final third, and there was only Aina back, I think, and potentially Murillo or Milankovic, but they were on the far side, and just had that pace then to get in front of Haaland, and obviously started the move
and timed that wrong, and it's a red card.
Yeah, it's a red card, and then we was well and truly had our backs against the wall, didn't we? So, but then obviously gives Gibbs White, and that is a superb pass. That is world class. If that's somebody like, I don't know, Rodri, De Bruyne, Sky Sports, you name it, they'd be like waxing lyrical. It is an absolute superb pick out from Gibbs White, and
it's not just the vision to make the pass and to complete the pass, but it's weighted perfectly, so Hudson-Odoi has it easy to control.
And he's took the whole of the Man City side out of the equation, and it's just great that Hudson-Odoi's just had the foresight of just staying out there, and obviously Gibbs White's absolutely pin perfect, isn't it, on his toe, and then obviously he's running it to Guardiola, and Guardiola he does the cardinal sin of any defender. He backed off, let him come into the area, which he can't obviously touch him, and he's clipped it onto his near post. And I was saying that Ederson, as a keeper of his caliber, you don't get beaten on his near post, but I think he just took him by surprise. I don't think Ederson was expecting him. He just, if you watch it, I think does it take a nick off Guardiola?
Joe Hart on Match of the Day was saying it took a nick.
Yeah, and I just think it's took Ederson by surprise and everything. And it was it's a brilliant goal of obviously how it all started. And I was waiting for the dreaded purple and white screen of VAR check, and then obviously Man City players weren't even around the referee, and they were coming back to the centre spot, and I thought, we're home and dry here.
Yeah, the other thing you have to the way Hudson-Odoi shifts the ball between his feet to sort of take Guardiola out of the angle.
Yeah, and I think he's up there with, if you take Gibbs White out of our side, and it's the same with other side, if you take Salah out of Liverpool, you suffer. And when Hudson-Odoi got injured, it was at the Southampton game, and he missed. I know. Did we beat Brighton without him?
I can't remember actually.
I can't remember, but yeah, what I'm trying to say is that Hudson-Odoi is up there with how important Gibbs White is to the side. He balances the side up, and he didn't play against Fulham. He come on against Fulham, didn't he? Yeah. And Alanga was trying to do the role of two wingers, and obviously you can't do it because you can't be on one side and on the other. But Hudson-Odoi just balances that side up. He's a really gifted, talented, technical footballer, and his class. And we got him for what, £3 million? It's a steal of the century. It really is. Yeah. And I do sincerely hope, and I think he will, because obviously Thomas Tuchel loved him when he was at Chelsea. I think he will get in the England squad next week.
Yeah,
I think he's been brilliant,
and he deserves it.
Yeah, definitely. And I just hope that if we do get into Europe, he realises Forest, and I think he will, because he's a humble guy, isn't it? Realise Forest have given him that chance on him, because people would turn their backs on him, thinking, well, he's done his Achilles, he's not going to be the same player. But Forest have given him that platform to obviously thrive in this environment. Same with Aina and players like that. And he's been brilliant, Hudson-Odoi, and I love him. And I think we've got a very, very special player. And he's still, what, 23, 24?
Yeah.
So he's got years in him yet. So, yeah, top player.
So after the goal, Manchester City tried to step it up a bit. I can remember saying to the bloke next to me, it'll be an absolute travesty if they score, because we totally deserve this. But I mean, they didn't really do much apart from that one shot by Kovacic right at the end of normal time, where I thought it was in from where I was, and I was very glad to see it had gone wide.
Well, we've all done it. We've all played it. When we're hanging on at the end, and we've tried to. You had the ball going down the wing, and we've inadvertently shanked it into the middle of the pitch, and obviously it's gone to another player. And obviously Gibbs White didn't mean that. He wasn't trying to be trying to do the impossible kind of thing. He just got it wrong kind of thing. And I didn't know enough shit myself. But I thought I was going to hit the top corner with Kovacic. It's a superb hit, but it's just bending away. And thankfully for us, it's the other side of the post, goes into where the Man City fans are, and I think that was into stoppage time that was, and
right before. But yeah.
And then there was a couple of times where they overhit a couple of passes, and Sells fell on it, and then there was one where he's ran it into the corner, and he's dropped a shoulder and tried to get, and he's got a corner, and I think that took the pressure off. I think we knew it was home and dry then. So, yeah, absolutely superb day yesterday, and a lot of credit goes to like Nuno and the players and his staff. The fans were, I think, when you play no disrespect to them, but fans are not going to be that up against like Ipswich or etc. And so I think the atmosphere was a tad flat on Monday at times, but yeah, when you get these like big sides come to the City ground, and everybody was at it yesterday, and the atmosphere was brilliant, and we did act like a 12 man, because I think at times where Forest players were like probably struggling a bit, we did get them over the line with a chance and everything, and yeah, we were brilliant yesterday.
So that's it. The game finished at 1-0. We'll be back after the break. We'll hear from the opposition and take stock of what this victory means.
The 1865 match report.
Eczema isn't always obvious, but it's real. And so is the relief from Ebglyss. After an initial dosing phase of 16 weeks, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Searching for real relief? Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
You're listening to 1865, the Nottingham Forest podcast.
Hey. Crunk Chocolate of Shades of Blue podcast here to give you my thoughts on Nottingham Forest's 1-0 win over Manchester City. I thought Pep put out a lineup that could run at Nottingham Forest when the open spaces showed itself, but could maintain possession to calm the match down if Forest seemed to take momentum. The crowd, which was expected, amazing, loud, was the 12th man on the pitch that gave the players what they needed to hold tight. Your defensive shape was amazing and frustrating, so frustrating. Nuno set the team up more conservative than I expected. Knew you were going to try to snatch a goal similar to your early season win against Liverpool. Ola Aina did a wonderful job against Doku, forcing Pep to try to even swap the wings in the second half. That didn't work. Marilla is a unit. Shutting down Holland, keeping him at bay. I hate to even say maybe he had him in his pocket for a little bit. Painful to say that. Pep taking off Nico and Nunes for Lewis and Kovacic was exactly what Nuno wanted, because that is when I saw Forest become the attacking side that has earned their spot in the top 4. Hudson-Odoi's goal, it hurt my soul. Seeing Ederson get beaten near post should not have happened. But Forest, they deserve the win. And I hope the best for your club. And Nottingham are the only red club in the Premier League right now that I'd root for. I just hate the color. But shout out to y'all. I'll be quietly rooting for you, and hopefully we'll see you in the Champions League next season. This is Crunk Chocolate, Shades of Blue. You know the vibes.
So pretty much the similar points to what we were saying then. Pep's tactics, not quite right. Nuno's tactics, absolutely spot on, I'd have to say.
Yeah, I was, as I leave the City ground, I had to go out of Bridgeford End, down Collick Road, and where the road is on the left-hand side, that's where like some Man City fans or away fans just filter in, and you're talking to them. And these 2 Man City fans come to blows yesterday because there was an old school Man City fan basically says Pep, which I was a bit surprised about. He says, Pep should go. The players are overcoached. He overcomplicates things. They're all confused. There's just no like direction in travel. It's just pass, pass, pass. And then this other fans basically saying, "Oh, you're ungrateful," and you should be thankful for what Pep has brought the Premier League and Manchester City. But yeah, I just think it was the tale of two managers yesterday. Tactics wise, Nuno got it spot on, and Pep didn't basically. And yeah, we all know Man City. They're still a very, very good side with very, very good players, and just like can turn it on, flick of a switch. But they've had problems this year, and I generally do think they're a team in transition. And I think it might take a season and a half to get back to the Man City of like a couple of years ago. We all know Kevin De Bruyne is on his way out in terms of. I'm not criticising him as a player because he's been a fantastic player, but the level of his power is probably on the decline now. He's 32, 33. Grealish didn't get on the pitch yesterday. He's basically out of favour. Obviously, you've got some new players there like Silvinho, who's still a relatively new player. Nico Gonzalez, relatively new player. Cruising off. Rodri has been a massive loss to them. Nathan Ake's a massive loss. So I just think they're a team in transition, really. And it's just going to take a bit of time. Pep to create another great side, and everybody goes back to like the 115 charges. My view is I think they'll pay a massive fine or something. I don't think they'll get relegated, or they might have like a couple of transfer window sanctions, but with the players they've got, I think Pep can, with the coaches, he can mould them and decide what he wants.
Just on transfers, I just wonder what was going through Omar Marmoush's head during the game.
Yeah. Well, I know what you're saying, but I still think even if you gave him the choice again, I still think he'd pick Manchester City because of their status. But yeah, I know exactly what you're saying and everything. And but I bet Pep's like thinking, I need a centre half who can probably head it and kick it and everything. And obviously, and then you got the cultured defender of Murillo, who I thought excellent yesterday.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and another thing is that Sangari splits opinion, and he come on, and apart from his slip, which obviously it just happens in football. There's a couple of players what slipped over yesterday. Sells slipped over a couple of times on goal kicks, but Sangari, I think he's in the last knockings of the game, and we was defending our box. Any player could have like panicked and just smashed the ball into Upper Bridgeford or Upper Brian Club stand, but no, he just dropped a shoulder and played it to, I think it was Hudson-Odoi or Gibbs White, and it was really like composed. And I mean, it's only one thing, and I know one pass doesn't make a player, and I get all of that, but yeah, I thought Sangari just
that's why we bought him, isn't it? It's to, if we were under pressure, to be able to find the pass. The other thing I noticed in the Ipswich game was he didn't have the best game, but this was the first time I watched him playing in the Premier League and thinking he's not just going to get shoved over. He looks a bit more physically capable.
Yeah, I thought that, and like I says, you got the subs bang on yesterday. I mean, when he come on and he really made a difference. You know that like last 4 minutes, you're thinking, bloody hell, if Man City just get one chance here, they've got the capabilities of sticking it away. But I think there was a long ball over the top, and he ran onto it, and he took it into the corner. And you think, is he just going to hold it there? And he dropped a shoulder and got a corner out of it. And you're thinking, that is absolutely brilliant. That is what you want in the last knockings of a game. Nobody do anything stupid. And he brought us a corner and back four again. Could have a breather and got us on the pitch.
This is the thing I wanted to mention. So what I'd forgotten in the first half, there was a very brief period, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, where Elanga and Wood decided that they were going to press the Manchester City defenders right up on land. It caused them real panic. They didn't like having, especially Elanga with his pace, just charging at them. And they played it back to Ederson, and then Ederson would try and play to another centre-half, and then Wood would press, and then Elanga would press, and they really didn't know what to do with it. And I was thinking, Taiwo would be brilliant at that. That's exactly what could make a difference.
Yeah, and Pep, like I said earlier, when that was happening, I looked over to obviously the main stand, or Peter Taylor stand, and Pep was like pacing around his technical area thinking, they've got our number here. It was kind of, and I think he gave credit to Forrester, didn't he, on his post-match. I think, it was an incredibly hard game for Man City, and brilliant. And we just obviously got to follow it up next week away at Ipswich, because it was only like last Monday we played them, and I thought they were all right, to be honest. I know they changed it up, and I know they lost yesterday to Crystal Palace.
And I do think, like, when we played them earlier in the season, I thought they gave us a really, really tough game. It was only just to be in it.
Yeah.
So I'm not expecting it to be easy, but
it was a niggly game, wasn't it? I don't think we got that penalty, but
again, if we're away at their place, they're going to be expected to come out a little bit more. So exactly. And I'll be going on Saturday, and it's what, when we was in the Championship, it was one of those grounds where you don't really look forward to going to, and because obviously the sheer distance of it. And the last time I went was Roy Keane's last game as Ipswich manager, New Year's Day 2010, and Aaron Ramsey played in that game, and we won 1-0 when Billy Davies was manager from I think it was a Damien Delaney own goal, and I haven't been since. So I'm actually looking forward to it, because I'm fortunate to go to all these away games, and I've been to obviously like Liverpool, but it's a bit different going to Ipswich. I'm kind of looking forward to it. It's just like, because I haven't been for a long time, kind of thing. And I'm looking forward to it. And obviously 3,000 Boys fans going it. Hopefully it's going to be a decent away trip down there. Excellent. Yep. So we'll leave it there. As I said, absolutely magnificent performance from the Reds. We'll be back later this week with the aforementioned match report from Ipswich. We'll have our Friday 5 news roundup, and we'll also have news from the top of the table clash as Forest women take on Burnley this week. So in the meantime, thank you very much to Crunk Chocolate. Thank you very much, Tom. Thank you for listening, and keep enjoying the journey. Vamos, you Reds.
The 1865 Match Report.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE-certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.